Hi, I'm Paul. A little bit ill today, so please excuse me sniffling and maybe coughing or whatever through the video. For this video, I don't really properly know what I'm going to be talking about. I just thought I'd pick a subject and waffle on and see where it ends up. The subject which I thought I would pick today was reincarnation. Is reincarnation real? I don't know. I'll let you kind of make your own decision on that, but I'm going to point out a few things, I guess, which could relate to reincarnation. I suppose, firstly, one of the misconceptions of reincarnation. I think one of the most common misconceptions of reincarnation is the idea of reincarnation is when you die, you come back as another body, and that isn't exactly quite real, because in the true teachings of reincarnation, you don't die because you don't exist. So the idea of that is we are pretty much just living in a dream anyway. And I suppose what I mean by a dream is very, very similar, I guess, to having a dream at night time. So at night time, when you're having a dream, if you think about it, everything that's in that dream, let's just say that, I don't know, you're flying on a plane to Spain, and there's some people sat around you, a guy sat next to you, a woman sat next to you, and someone walking down the aisle and so on. When you really look at the dream, everything that's in that dream is you. It's all in your mind, all created by you. And then you wake up. And the idea of the reincarnation, when you do wake up, is when you wake up, you're just waking up into another dream. So essentially this reality, or what we believe a reality, is supposed to be another dream. And I know you can kind of say, well, how can this be a dream? I can see me, other people, they're not part of me. But then look into the dream, the person sat next to you on the plane was separate. But when you really look at it, they only exist inside of your mind, and it's part of you, and you created them. And that's the same pretty much in this dream, so I'll go a little bit more into detail what I mean by this dream. If you really think about it, everything that exists in this, what we call reality, is all in our mind. It's only created in our mind. So my experiences of anything, say the experience of a tree over there, my experience is not over there with the tree. My experience of a tree is in my mind. Everything about the tree, the shape of the tree, the colour of the tree, everything is all an image which was created inside of my mind. So if I break that down a little bit, I've spoken in a few videos on these different things, that there's no such thing as colour in the outside world. And what happens is the light, which is a wave, an electromagnetic wave, reflects off an object. When it reflects off the object, it changes the frequency of a wave and then hits your eyes. Goes into your mind, and your mind creates an image which would be the colour of the tree. It also creates the shape of the tree as well from the light. So both the shape of the tree and the colour of the tree are all created inside of your mind. And when we look at sound is pretty much the same. It's not an electromagnetic wave, but it's still a wave through air particles, which hits your ears, and then your brain creates a picture of the sound, which is what we would call sound. And it's the same with smell. Our noses detect the vibrations inside of particles, but then our brain paints a picture of what the smell is. So what I'm kind of pointing to here is what we see as reality on the outside world. It's just waves of energy. And it's only when one of our senses or all of our senses pick up the waves of energy that it goes to our brain, and our brain creates a picture of what we see in the outside world. Which is why I relate this to dreaming at night time. Because everything in the dream is all in your mind, and everything in this dream is all in your mind also, but just created by different waves of energy. Also, if we look at everything that's in reality, everything is made of atoms. When I want to say everything's made of atoms, I mean us as well. Water, gas, air, all solid objects, all made of atoms. And when you look at atoms, atoms are 99.9% empty space. So if we look at, let's say, a table, and that's made of, I don't know how many atoms, but a lot of atoms, that table is 99.9% not there. So the whole of reality, what we see as solid objects, when we look down into it, aren't really solid. All the objects we see outside that have colour don't really have colour. All the sounds that we hear outside don't have sounds. So the way that I kind of see reality as actually being outside really is just energy, and then it goes into our mind, and our mind creates or paints an image of what we kind of see outside. I suppose when we really look at it, we're also made of atoms, and that means that I'm also 99.9% not there. I think our neurons inside of our brains and nerves, I can't remember how many it is. I think it was, depending on what you read, 200 billion, 300 billion, somewhere between there. When you look at them, they're made of atoms too. 99.9% not there. Also, when we look at our body, actually, our body's constantly replenishing all of our atoms, all of our cells, neurons. They're all getting replenished constantly. I'm pretty sure that it was something like every 10 years they say that every single cell in your body has been replaced. I think if you read some places, they'll say that there's still 2% of some neurons somewhere in the brain, I can't remember whereabouts, which don't get replenished. I don't know which is true. Like I say, you can read some posts and they'll tell you that the whole body's replaced every 10 years, every single bit. But even if we stick with the point of 2% of your neurons stay, when you really think about who you are, you look at yourself as being memory. You have thoughts and lots of memory. And when you think that all of this memory in the brain is what you would describe as you, it seems a little bit odd that most of it disappears. And yet you're still you when you're remade again by new neurons, atoms, cells. So I'll point out quite a few things there, I guess, that kind of distort our image of reality. Like I was saying in the beginning, reincarnation pretty much is that you don't exist. You're not born, should I say. You're not born and you don't die. It's just an idea. The whole body, the whole eye sense, it's just a continuous thought process. The brain making up images, making up a body, making up a sense of the eye. And that's much like having a dream at night time. The whole dream's made up. So this not born, so therefore you don't die. If we just look at the process of being born and dying, let's say you're coming to your end and everything finally does go black and then you die. Well, before you're born, you're dead then. And then what happens? You're born. I suppose it's kind of like being inside of a room and climbing out of a window and then just coming straight into a different world. Like I say, it's only a dream. I've heard of some people who say that they've had memories of the past lives, and people have said that they get to choose the parents, and then they come into this world. I don't really know much about them sort of things. I tend not to do much searching or research into them, so I'm not really too sure. But I think the idea is you to understand this idea of reincarnation, to understand that it's just a dream, and then at the end you end up going back into life into another dream. You really got to look at who you are. I mean, a lot of us in life look at ourselves as being thought. You really try and work out who you are. Really try and look. You're probably going to come up with things like you're going to describe your job, whether you're a male or a female, a body, or a mind, or the things that you like, or the things that you dislike. And all of these are just ideas or thoughts. They're not exactly fixed. They can change from one day to another. So in one of my videos, what I just recently did, I was talking about thought and where thoughts come from. And I described them as being brain movement. So essentially the brain is shaping and moving and growing and connecting. And from this brain movement, to make a visual understanding of it, we create thoughts. And the brain movement I describe as being a reaction to the environment. So a reaction to energy in the outside reality, the real reality. And to have an understanding of that brain activity, which is also related to the outside reality, we have thought. And from thought, we could go on to consciousness. So the thoughts view the brain activity, and consciousness views the thoughts. So everything that we think of is viewed by consciousness. And the thoughts change all the time, every minute, every second, every day. Ideas of yourself, things that you want to be, all change. But consciousness doesn't change. So your awareness of your thoughts, your awareness of everything is pretty much exactly the same as what it was the day when you was born. And it's going to be the same when you die, for your 20s, for your 30s, for your 40s. And you look at awareness or consciousness, it just is what it is. And the way I look at it is that's true reality, which is like the reality of the reality of the reality. You could go back all the way and observe what's viewing what. And you can't go back any further than consciousness, because you can't say that there's something else which is aware of awareness, aware of consciousness. Just to me, it seems like that's as far back as you could go. And if that's as far back as you could go, I could say that probably is the real you. That probably is consciousness. And it's that consciousness which is living through a dream, which is what the thoughts are creating. So to me, it seems like consciousness doesn't really change. It never changed from the day that you was born all the way to the day that you pass away. It stays the same. So the idea of reincarnation is, why should that end? And we don't even know if it actually belongs to the body. It's likely that it doesn't. It maybe does, I don't know. So the idea is when life as such ends, consciousness continues. And if we still believe in the dream, believe the dream is real, believe our thoughts and our ideas are real, then we just go right back to making a new dream in a new body and relive this experience. The idea of becoming spiritual or seeing God is to see that reality is just the consciousness. And when you really see that, you end up stop having new dreams of new lives in new bodies. I also don't think that in reincarnation we're kind of fixed into creating new bodies of humans. I think that we can come back as pretty much anything. A stone on the floor, maybe, I'm not sure, I don't know. But the idea is, I'm not really going to go making any suggestions of what I think actually definitely is. I'm just going to try and leave it open-minded. I just wanted to try and point out a few things which I've learned along the way to try and talk about it. Anyway, thanks so much for listening.